All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. Excuse me. So already recorded a bunch of chapters for Akane, for Spy Family, for more Gokurakugai. So we're going to jump into some more of that in a second here. Before we do that, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, especially if you enjoy my content. If you would like to press those like, comment, subscribe buttons, that really helps me out a lot with YouTube's algorithm, because it lets it know that these videos are worth promoting on the channel. And like I mentioned yesterday, there's a lot of great content coming your way and a lot of content dropping this weekend. So if you haven't already subscribed, to be current with it, do that right now. It would mean a lot to me, would be greatly appreciated. But without further ado, let us dive into Gokurakugai Chapter 4, Ignorance is Bliss, by Yuto Sana, with translation by David Evelyn and lettering by Kyla Aiko. This is such a gorgeous cover page. I love it so much, with the little portraits of Yoki and Dara on the back. It's so good. Oh, art in this is just phenomenal. We pick up where we left off the last chapter with Alma confronting not Mop Hair. I guess Goth Bro from last chapter. I'll call him Goth Bro for now. Going, who the hell are you? And he's like, listen, I'm not suspicious. And Alma's just like knocked out by this, by his kind of like wheedling attitude. He's like, I was just wandering around and somehow ended up here. Then I started wondering why there was a tarp over one of the Koma Inu statues. Before long, I found myself wondering why a shrine was here in the first place, and why Torii gates have to be so massive. So basically, I'm not the one who broke the Koma Inu statue. I swear I'm not lying. This series is like, you want to know what a person with debilitating anxiety would be like? This is what a person with debilitating anxiety would be like. And you see it, as Alma just comes like rushing in face to face and takes a sniff of him. And he's just looking confused. And he goes, "You're not lying? Even though you look so suspicious?" It's like, didn't I just tell you that I'm not? And he's like, quit crying. How friggin' old are you? He's like, I'm 21. He's like, I'm not crying yet. It's like, you're older than Yaya, but even she's more reliable. And he's like, who? He's like, whatever. Here, take this. If you ever run into trouble, we'll solve any problem. Give us a ring anytime. As he hands over, I don't think it's a business card because it looks too thick to be one. Is it like a tissue pack with their logo and like business stuff printed on it? Because that's what it looks like. And Goth Rose, actually, let me ask you. Oh, no, sorry, it's Alma continuing. Actually, let me ask you. Why are you crying? You lost? He's like, no, I'm not. You just spooked me when you called out to me out of the blue. He's like, holy crap, you're timid. Is that seriously why? And he's like, I mean, you did ask who the hell I was out of nowhere, so... And he sees Alma's bag of taiyaki and his stomach just does a little gurgle. And Alma's like, what's with you? I can't tell if you're cowardly or crafty. He's like, no, that's not it. I wasn't admiring how good that bag smelled at all. He's like, yeah, that's a lie. It's like, huh? It's like, how do you know? And Alma's just thinking about something. He's looking down at the bag, looking at him, looking down at the bag. He's like, there'd be less for me, but I did get him for free. He's like, there'd be less for me. Well, one wouldn't hurt. If Miss Tao were here right now. And so he has thinks back to Tao, handing him like two little wrapped candies, going, this is all I have right now. Take it. Kids love sweets, right? He's like, you're an adult, but you like sweets? It's like, huh? It's like, yes, I do. Alma, why the fuck are you being so judgmental, bro? Why are you being so goddamn judgmental? It's personal attacks on me. And he's just scrunching up his face, like, here, take it, as he hands him a taiyaki. And he's like, are you sure? He's like, I'm an adult after all. He's just trying so hard not to cry. He's like, okay, there's a show I want to watch at 9, so gotta go. He's like, huh? Oh, it's hey, thank you. He's like, you look kind of clumsy, so sit down before you eat that, and don't get lost anymore. He's like, I told you I won't get lost. He's like, I told you I wasn't lost. And you see back at the headquarters, he's like, I'm back. Tao's like, welcome back. It's like, you took your sweet time. It's like, oh man, you're right, it's past 9. It's like, you see, there was this weirdo at the shrine. She's like, weirdo? He's like, yeah, I didn't recognize him and I figured he wasn't from home base, so I called out to him. Despite being a grown man, he was lost, quick to cry, and his stomach was rumbling from hunger. So I gave him one of my taiyaki. I did good, didn't I? He's like, oh, yeah, good job, good job. And he's like, oh, do you mind if I switch to channel 10? And you have Tao going, so who was he? And he's like, oh! And you see him sitting down at a bench as he's looking at the taiyaki. And right before he's about to bite into it, you see someone well-dressed coming up going, I was looking for you, Yoru. And you see this Gin Ichimaru looking motherfucker with like this mop of blonde hair, like these dead-ass looking eyes. And he's like, Mr. Yomi. He's like, oh, please have a seat. He's like, sure. He's like, huh, where'd you get that? He's like, oh, I got this a moment ago. I haven't taken a bite yet, so you can have it. He's like, then I'll just take a piece. He's like, yeah, it's good, thanks. You can have the rest. It's like, right, I will. It's like, it's rare to see you interact with anyone. Who gave you that? Oh, sorry, what's his name? Yomi. He's like, oh, come to think of it, I didn't catch his name. He was a little taller than me, and he had red hair. Oh, also, he gave me this. And he pulls a little pack with the Gokurakugai's number and info on it. And he goes, Yoru, he's our score. And he's like, score? It's like, what were your impressions of him? He's like, well, he was kind of scary, but he wasn't a bad guy, I don't think. He's like, could you see yourself being friends with him? It's like, don't know, I can't really say for sure. It's like, don't worry, you and him are good kids. And he's like, oh, and he's like, thank you. He's like all blushing as he starts chewing on the taiyaki. He's like, how can you tell if you've never seen him, Mr. Yomi? He's like, well, Yoru, it's because I've been watching him for a long time. Ever since he was born, in fact. He turned me down once before, but the next time we meet, I'll be sure to take him in. He's like, when do you think next time will be? It's like, huh? Well, I have no clue, but knowing you, Mr. Yomi, it could be any time, I think. Even right now. He's like, close. This is just my pet theory, but I think people are at their most fragile when they lose their status quo. How would you feel if the place that sold your favorite snacks just up and vanished one day? He's like, it'd be a total shock. So then what if your books vanished? Or if your house burned down? Or if you went blind? What if someone who you thought would always be by your side left you? Until he has someone who becomes ingrained in his everyday life, I'll hold out. He just gives this evil looking grin. He's like, whoa. Anyway, if you run in... Oh, sorry, it's this is Yomi, right? So, yeah, Yomi and Yoru, okay. So Yomi goes, anyway, if you run into him again, try talking to him. He's like, yes, of course. And he's like, oh, but... He's like, oh, what the heck are you two boys up to? He's like, oh my god, what a score! What a total score! And you see these two ladies coming up to them, be like, excuse us, but are you two free right now? It's like, what's the matter with him? And he's just like hiding his mouth. And Yomi's like, oh, please, you don't have to be scared. Oh, sorry, that's the ladies going, oh, please, you don't have to be scared of us. It's like, see, we've been out drinking and now we're looking for another bar to hit up. So why don't you both join? Oh, god damn. And you see, as they're talking, you see, huh? And you see him just doing like the force projecting arms. He just grabs both of them and starts choking them. And you see his eyes are like looking all manic and bugged out now. And he drops them as soon as they start breathing. He drops them. And Yomi's like, I came here thinking I wouldn't be seeing this side of you. At least that's what I assumed. But I'd say either side has its charms. Oh, god damn. And you see the black hair like, oh no, what is... He's like, ah. And you see he forces her mouth open and drops some kind of black pill in there. And he forces it shut, and then she starts transforming into a maga. He's like, ah. He's like, look at that. Sorry. Ugh. Right, so she looks like she's starting to transform into a maga, but the transformation didn't take. And she kind of just burst apart. It's like, look at that. Couldn't even become a suitable pawn. You're just a couple of big old duds. It's like, you sure don't show any mercy to dark-haired girls, Yoru. And he's like, Yomi. He's like, huh? It's like, are we family? It's like, of course. It's like, that's great. Serial killer, bro. And see Alma going, but I handed him a pack. I knew it was tissues. He's like, but I handed him a pack of tissues with a card inside, so I might see him again if something pops up. He's like, anyway, look. Ta-da! A taiyaki sandwich. So you said you didn't want sweets, so I bought some yummy looking taiyaki that didn't have any red bean paste. And you see Tao just having just lit cig, ate sushi, black coffee. And he's like, ch. He's like, you can't fool me, Miss Tao. My eating habits might overshadow yours, but I know you're no slouch yourself. And I know that nicotine has diluted your taste buds. And I know that mixing foods doesn't bother you. The next pound you have a ta-da like an indeed. So I also know that sponge cake dries out your mouth, so you don't eat it if you can help it. Old Money Grubber didn't seem to know that though. It's like, okay. Like that aside, Al, I tell you this every time. I appreciate you handing out our tissue packs to folks, but you need to ask the shady ones for their names. He's like, got it, ma'am. He's like, yeah, you sound like you do at least. Just be careful next time. He's like, let's chow down. He's like, yes, let's. Like, this thing's ginormous. It's like, we have 4 stomachs, so just store the rest in the honeycomb looking one. It's like, that's how cows work. So did you know the water they use for this gag isn't actually all that hot? It's like, don't know, don't care. I was watching some kind of show on the TV. But yeah, compared to previous chapters, I think this was definitely a significant step up in terms of like world building and just general plot stuff. Yoru's definitely gonna be very interesting. Especially with I'm hesitant to call it a split personality right now, but I'm just gonna call it split personality right now just for kind of convenience. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays with the split personality between, his timid, anxiety-ridden self and his more more forceful serial killer one. So it would be interesting to see those contrasts acting up, especially once he runs into Tao. I think that's going to we're going to start seeing more of that starting to pop out. It'd be interesting because Tao doesn't technically have dark hair. She's got dark hair that I think she's dyed white or platinum blonde, I guess. So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to her. If the dark aspects of her hair will only slightly trigger his transformation, for lack of a better word. That said, Yaya might be the one that actually is in trouble. She might be the one he sets his eyes on as a target. With regard to what Yoru said of I'm going to wait till there's someone ingrained in his life before I remove them to kind of have the most impact. But yeah, apart from that, we're finally starting to get introduced to more of the antagonists of the series. We have Mr. Yomi, Mr. Death here, in his black getup with the blonde hair and everything. So I'm curious to see more of him and what his whole deal is. Especially with the fact that we found out he has history with Alma. So I'm curious as to how that can work, what that's going to play out with. So I think I am more certain of my theory now that Yoru is definitely probably half Maga as well. That's how come he has that's how come I'm guessing he has the force choking powers. He's probably similar to Alma in that regard. So yeah, looking forward to seeing more of them. Like the little villain monologue from Yomi. I will say the part where he's choking out the women and is feeding them the pill and everything. That was significantly darker. Again, the art on that was phenomenal. I think that was a point of the series. The series up until now hasn't been too dark and gritty just yet, but I think in that panel definitely started heading towards that direction. And I think we'll start seeing more and more of that as we get deeper and deeper into the series and stuff. So, yeah, a lot of good potential in this chapter. Looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. So like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to leave the other 2 chapters of this until next week. Just because it is a monthly series, I feel like it's easier to spread it out rather than try to binge it all in one weekend. So yeah, look forward to that, especially when it starts dropping. It will be a regular addition to the regular roster of other series on this channel. But yeah, with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I mentioned at the beginning, if you did, please consider like, commenting, subscribing, all that's good stuff if you haven't already. Because like I mentioned, it does mean a lot to me, does help me out a lot, and is greatly appreciated. And until next time, this is Ash. I will talk to you all later.